The diagram below shows a garage floor plan with a garage door, a side door, and a window. So if you're looking at this information and we read through it, we see we've given the dimensions of the floor plan. We're given symbols for the particular floor plan, and we have the specifications for various items on the floor plan, the brick specifications, and the material cost. So you need to read this information here in order to familiarize yourself with what's given, in order when we approach our questions we know exactly what information to use for each particular question. Zanele enters the garage through the side door. Determine on which side of Zanele the garage door will be found. What's important here is indicated by the red square. You find the north. We need that information is given to us in order that we use it to answer this question. And secondly, I've indicated by the red arrow the direction in which Zanele will be walking. So she'll be walking down this way, and if you look at it, you find that if you had to face that direction which Zanele is facing in terms of the arrow, you'll find that the garage door will be on your right hand side. Or if you had to use the north-south direction, then it would be on our west side. On a scale drawing of the garage, the width is 140 millimeter. Determine A, the scale of the drawing. Now take note that the information they've given us is information regarding the page. And normally I tell my learners it's page is to reality, or page is to the ground. So when we're doing scales, so if we had to take this and put our page amount first, which is the 140 millimeter, and then we need a ground amount, right, an actual reality amount. Now we know that they mentioned that the width is the 140 millimeter, but we know that the width, another name for it is breadth. So we know on our drawing the breadth has been given to us, and we can see it's 3500 millimeters. So we can just put down 140, which is our page amount, is to the 3500, which is our actual amount on the ground. So we notice that this is how a scale is written. So all we need to do is, whenever we provide a scale, it has to be in the format of 1:2. Now you know from ratios, when working with ratios, you divide by the number in front. For instance, the 140, we'll divide both sides by 140, and you can see that in the second step that both sides are being divided by 140. And when we do this, we're left with 1:2, and the 3500 divided by 40 will give us 25. And this is the format in which we leave our scale. B, the length in centimeter of the garage on the scaled drawing. Always keep in mind that you will be expected to use the information or answers of a previous question to answer the current question you're working on. So if you remember that we've already worked out the scale of 1:25 previously, and remember it's important that you know that it is in millimeters because we worked in millimeters. But for this particular question they are asking us to give this answer in centimeters, so we need to keep in mind that our final answer must be in centimeters. So using the cross multiplication method, we write our scale down, which is 1:25. Remember, its page is to the ground. So of the table, when we look at it, or should I say of the diagram, when we look at it, we've been already given the length in the on the ground. If you look at the length is 6000 millimeters. Now we put this as a ground measurement, so that's why we get our second step there right at the top, and I've placed that as X because the X is what we're going to work out. Is they want us to work out the measurement on the page. So we cross multiply this as usual using the cross multiplication method, and we left with 25x is equal to 6000. And this is how we come to the next step, which is 6000 divided by 25, and we arrive at 240 millimeters. Now remember, we have to divide this by 10 in order for us to arrive at 24 centimeters. Calculate the number of brick pallets needed to build this garage if the total area of the bricked section of the garage is 41,410,000 millimeter squared. So the information we're going to be using is in the red box indicated there. It's all the details regards to the bricks and the specifications. So initially in the question we've been given the 41,410,000 millimeters squared, but if you read the box you'll notice that there is information where it says the first point 68 bricks are needed to build a wall of 1 meter squared. Now you notice they are working in meters squared, whereas we are given an area of millimeter squared. So the first thing we need to do, as indicated right at the top, is to convert this millimeter squared into meter squared. And how do we do this? We find out, if you're not sure, you find out how many millimeters in 1 meter. Now this is something that you must know. It's 1,000. So because there is 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter, but notice that this millimeter is squared and so is the meter squared. So because we know that there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter, so we square the 1,000, and this is why I've written there in the corner it says divide by 1 million, because 1,000 times 1,000 will give you 1 million. And when we divide by 1 million, and this is how we arrive at 41,410 meters squared. So all we've done is converted the millimeter squared, divided it by 1 million, and we arrive at the meter squared amount. Now that we are in meter squared, so we know by using the red box information, we know that there are 68 bricks used to build a wall of 1 meter squared. So the units are same. So all we need to do is take our 41,41, right? Remember it's 41 because the 0 doesn't matter there. So 48,41, and we multiply it by 68 because this is the amount of bricks used per meter squared. So we have 41,41 meter squared of area in which we need to work with, and then when we multiply this through we get 2,815 as our answer, and this is the amount of bricks that we'll need. Learners tend to round off immediately, but it's important to round off towards the end, towards what is exactly required, and it's important to just carry your decimals through and only at the end to round off according to the context in which you are speaking of. So we carry this forward, and we know that we are using 2,815,88 bricks, but we know that from the information in the red box that there are 500 bricks per pallet. So we need to know how many pallets we are using. So all we do is take the amount of bricks that we have in total, which is 2,815,88, divided by 500 per pallet, and it will give us an amount of pallets that we need. Now you notice in this question here we've given 5,631 as the answer, and then we have to round this off to 6 because we can't really use half a pallet, so we therefore round it up to 6 and make it 6 pallets. Determine the total area in millimeters squared of the openings, unbricked sections of the garage walls. So there are 3 items that are unbricked sections, which would be the side door, the garage door, and the window, as indicated by the red squares on the diagram. And also we need to calculate the total area. The total area means that we need to know the length and breadth of each of these different items on the drawing. So all we need to do is look at the information indicated in the green box below. The dimensions are given for the side door, the garage door, and the window. And if you look at the calculations, we multiplied through. For the side door, we've got 1,600,000 millimeters squared. For the garage, we've got 5,040,000, and then for the window we've got 1,350,000. These are the multiplications for the various items, but they asked us to work on the total area. So adding these 3 items up, the areas, and we arrive at 7 1,990,000 millimeter squared. Yapi states the bricks, doors and windows will cost him approximately 12,500 Rand. Verify showing all calculations whether his statement is valid. So using the information indicated by the red box, that's where we look at the costing. So as indicated, the following items were indicated in our question is the bricks, the doors and the windows. So in line with the bricks, we know that the information given here is that it's 1,685 per pallet. Now in our previous questions, we worked out that there are 6 pallets that we're working with. So we need to multiply this by 6. As indicated in the answer, you see the 1,685 times 6. Thereafter, we need to add the garage door. Remember, there are 2 doors in this particular garage, which is the garage door and the side door. And therefore, we add the side door as well. And lastly, we add the window. Now, adding this amount up, we arrive at 13,434,90. But Yapi mentioned that the cost will be 12,500. So obviously statement is invalid, and we indicate it by writing a statement to say that we agree, disagree, or it's as in this case it says not valid because it does not meet the statement that he said in terms of 12,500. Yapi borrowed 35,000 from an uncle to complete the building of the garage. The terms for the loan were to repay the full amount including simple interest at a rate of 8% per annum after 7 months. Calculate how much he must pay back 7 months after the loan was granted. The following formula may be used. Simple interest is equal to principal amount times interest rate times time in years. So the first thing we need to do is gather information from this type of question. So looking at the formula given to us at the bottom, we need to know firstly which is our principal amount, and we know that 35,000 is our principal amount. Then we need to know our interest rate. Now interest rate will be 8% per annum. You need to make sure you know exactly what is stated there, whether it's per annum or biannual. So that's very, very important. In this case, we have per annum. In later videos, I'll discuss the biannual and give you more examples in terms of that. And then lastly, we have time in years. Now, in your information given to you, you have 7 months. So there is a conversion that you need to do in terms of taking the 7 months and making it into years. Substituting into the given formula, and we see that the time in years is 7/12. Now when we multiply this through, we get 1,633,33. Now it's important that you know that the formula that they've given you is in terms of simple interest. It's only the interest amount, right? But you need to know what is the total amount you will have to pay. So you take your principal amount, which is 35,000, plus that interest amount that he'll earn over that period of 7 months, and altogether you will pay 36,633,33.